Hey guys, this is Verneer, and I wanted to talk about a situation in which I check aces post-flop and go into my reasoning behind that. It's a 200 no-limit full ring game on full tilt poker. I raise aces and get one caller. The caller is a tag playing 13-10 over 1.4 thousand hands. So we go to the flop, and the flop is 6-3-8. Now, once you start having a sample size of around, over 1,000 hands on somebody, uh, you can move beyond the basic HUD stats and look at things like fold to c-bet starts becoming a little bit more accurate. So this guy folds to about 88% of c-bets. So if I c-bet this and he continues, I'm not going to be liking my hand a lot. So, on the other hand, if I check to him, his versus missed c-bet, his bet in position, is close to 50%. So I expect to get a lot of folds if I bet this, but if I check, I expect him to fire quite a bit. So something like deuces, if he has pocket deuces, he might fold if I bet here, but if I check, then he might fire, putting me on ace-king that's looking to check fold this flop. Now, versus a random tag on this kind of a flop, I would often be check folding a hand like ace-king or ace-queen, mostly because I expect to get floated and bluff raised quite a bit on this kind of a board, because he could certainly represent a range of, basically, he can represent a set on this really, really well. And more often than not, I'm going to be better off giving him credit if I do that, if I bet and he raises me. So I decided there's a lot more value in checking here. Now, in addition to that, his range pre-flop is going to be small to medium pocket pairs and some broadways. I basically expect him to fire a lot once I check. So aces are a great hand to check. Now, if I had a hand like pocket tens, there's a lot less incentive for me to check here, in addition to a hand like pocket jacks, and this is going to become apparent by the time this hand is over, but basically the idea is if I have pocket tens there and he has a hand like queen jack suited or a king queen, then he's got a lot more equity against me than if I have pocket aces. By checking pocket aces here, I'm not afraid of letting him catch up with one of his overcards if he has a hand like I said, some broadways. So I check and he fires kind of as expected, and I check call. There's really no reason to do anything but to check call here. The turn is the 9, and I check, and he fires again. And I expect him to fire any kind of picked up equity, and obviously any kind of sets. He could also fire tens or jacks here for protection. So again, there's no play other than check calling the turn, and the river's a king. Now, I don't expect him to fire tens or jacks here. On the river, I expect those hands to fire the turn to try to kind of like a reverse blocker bet. So I check, and he indeed checks behind a turned flush draw and river to top pair, good kicker. If he fires that river, then it's pretty clear that I'm going to be beat, especially versus a player like this. So if he fires that river, I am going to be check folding. Now, betting that flop certainly makes your hand easier to play, but this is just a great example of a situation where checking that flop is going to be much, much more profitable. And, hopefully I've shown why aces is a very good hand to do this with versus a hand like tens. If I had a hand like tens or jacks, then he certainly gets to me on the river with his overpair or with his overcards, but with aces, I'm just not concerned about that.